In the dead of a polar winter, it's minus 50 degrees Celsius and the wind is ferocious. Filthy weather for any animal, even the great predators of the North and South Poles. This is the story of how they survive in such extreme conditions. Wind and water shape the polar landscapes. In the far north, the polar bear holds sway over the Arctic hunting grounds. This supreme predator roams far and wide in search of young seals under the ice. As the largest of all land carnivores, the polar bear is the undisputed king of the Arctic. But his kingdom is confined to only one of the poles. At the opposite end of the planet, even colder and far more remote, lies the other kingdom of ice, the Antarctic, home of the penguins. These little people must share their home with the lord of the southern ice, the leopard seal, weighing almost half a ton. The leopard seal and polar bear hunt in quite different ways, but both use the ice to their own advantage, either for camouflage or for ambush. The polar bear harpoons young seals from above, while the giant leopard seal strikes from below. Differences in diet, too. The leopard seal feeds all year round, and not just on penguins. But the polar bear depends solely on seals for survival. When the ice melts beneath its feet and summer comes round, the polar bear goes hungry. With no ice pack, it can't take seals by surprise. Only the most experienced bears manage to find enough food in summer. Young polar bears struggle to stay alive. Starvation is the #1 cause of mortality. And global warming only makes things worse. A single source of food and a hunting ground that expands and contracts. The polar bear has no escape from this territory that changes dramatically with the seasons. By the end of winter, the ice pack reaches its maximum cover of 14 million square kilometers, trapping the Norwegian island of Spitsbergen. A glacier overshadows a family of polar bears, a mother and her 2 one-year-old cubs. But how can she ensure that they survive? Mother benefits from over 20 years' experience on and off the ice. Her cubs should, in theory, learn quickly how to survive the odds. These cubs aren't her first. She's raised about 10 in all, each one spending its first 2.5 years following her closely. And the young bears are in no hurry to cut loose. Harmless games are part of their education. But if they're to survive alone, they must master the real lesson of life on the ice. They must put on weight and maintain a good layer of fat. That means hunting. Nothing grows in this frozen wasteland, so polar bears had to become strict carnivores. But barely 200,000 years ago, their ancestors weren't. The polar bear evolved from the brown bear, which is omnivorous. It feeds on plants and semi-forested regions as well as meat. Some migrated north in search of new territory and food, until they reached the gateway to the Arctic. The first winters must have been hard for the brown bear. Without berries or roots to eat, only one option was left: to prey on other animals. From then on, everything depended on hunting. Natural selection favored animals with light coats so they could sneak up on their prey. But what kind of prey? Migratory birds hardly fit the bill. An animal weighing half a ton or more needs something far more nourishing. A plump seal certainly hits the spot, and there are plenty of them. The bears begin to specialize in hunting seals in winter when it's easiest, so they stopped hibernating. Long claws designed for digging out roots are replaced by shorter ones to grip the ice. They grow sharper teeth for ripping flesh. But the bear's evolution into a true polar predator is still not complete. Claws and teeth aren't enough to bag an elusive seal. The bears need a strategy, and that takes thousands of years to perfect. Specialization in seal hunting was the key to their survival on the ice, and that meant knowledge passed down from generation to generation. "200,000 years later, this mother must still teach her cubs how to hunt. They have already learned the basics, so their mother lets them lead. Location: coastal ice pack. Target: sunbathing seals. Strategy: lie in wait. Polar bears have excellent vision. A special membrane that acts like a pair of sunglasses reduces glare on the ice. Yet another ingenious evolutionary change. With their white coats, the bears can see without being seen. But they misuse stealth to make the approach. One false move, and the seals are gone. The bear's strategy is based on precise observation of the seal's habits. They exploit the seal's main flaw. The apprentices show how. Ringed seals have a sleep cycle as regular as clockwork. When they doze off, the bears have 30 seconds to get closer. After 30 seconds, the seal wakes up, and the hunters freeze. With the coast seemingly clear, the seal goes back to sleep, and the bears move in again. With only 25 meters to the tape, one cub goes for gold. Too slow off the blocks. Next time, he'll move more carefully and perhaps attack a younger, less wary seal with deeper sleeping habits. Not a chance. The cub is too impatient, but in a year's time, he'll be able to make a kill every 5 or 6 days. The young family knows when to move on. Luckily, Mother has a plan B. Her cubs need to rest, so she takes off alone. Many seals come to this ice-free coastal channel to breathe after diving under the ice. She's already salivating at the prospect of the meal right below her paws. They're obviously not seals, but white whales known as beluga whales. A kill here would be a very rare bonus for a polar bear. Belugas weigh a ton or more and are protected by 15 centimeters of blubber. Jackpot. Enough fat to feed the whole bear family. But the whales know the bear lies in wait, so they won't surface. The whales can hear every movement of the bear above the ice because they're endowed with a sophisticated listening system. They hear not just with their ears, but use a hollow lower jaw to resonate and receive sounds. With no vocal cords, a beluga emits warning sounds from its blowhole and passes them through its domed head, called a melon. But the bear can hear these calls too. Knowing a bear is ready to strike, the belugas surface to breathe further out, where the channel is too wide for the bear to compete. She only stands a chance when the whales breathe through small holes in the ice. Her failure here shows what a challenge it is to hunt cautious and sharp-sensed animals by sight. She must return to her traditional and more dependable prey. When the weather closes in, things get even worse. Whiteouts make it impossible to find ringed seals on top of the ice. But polar bears have another formidable weapon, a sense of smell 7 times stronger than that of a hunting dog. The air is full of information for the brain to decode into an olfactory image. Using her powerful nose, the bear seems to enter another world, a world of odors. Nothing stands in her way. Even a seal buried deep in an icy den is not safe from this form of detection. Female seals give birth in dens that they carve out between ice and water. The dens protect them from the cold and from predators, but it's often not enough. What's that odor arising from the ice? Such a strong, musky aroma can only mean one thing. Now's the moment to break the crust. But it proves too thick, and the mother seal escapes with her newborn. The cubs watch and learn. A change in wind direction brings fresh information. Nothing can hold the youngster back. He can smell prey up to 30 kilometers away. He just needs some clues. Like this seal blood. More blood, and a disturbed snowdrift. This must be the work of another bear. Then, large paw prints. It must be an adult male. The victim was dragged over the ice. The prized carcass is heavily guarded. And the cub is making a big mistake. He's approaching adult bears with the wind behind him. Why does the cub persist? Doesn't he know that adult males eat young bears? Luckily, the cub doesn't have to face this threat alone. The sight of the mother makes the adult hesitate. He decides to break off the attack. The cub has gotten what he wanted, to lure his mother to a kill. The male won't put up a fight with the mother because even though she's half his weight, she'll be very determined to protect and feed her cubs. Besides, there's not much left to fight over. He gives up his spoils and joins his partner. The cub's reliance on his mother's protection has paid off. But she won't always be there. Moreover, summer is just around the corner, and that will change everything. Between April and July, 2/3 of the Arctic ice melts, and on Spitsbergen it disappears completely. It's a disaster for the bears, because the seals have gone north with the retreating ice. The bears' territory shrinks, and food is hard to find. Every summer, their world collapses like the glaciers around them. Somehow they must survive this annual The first summer alone is a terrible ordeal for the young. This bear is 3 years old and can no longer rely on his mother. So where has she gone? The mother must leave and start a new family. Separation is brutal for the young bear, alone, hungry, and helpless in the face of competition from its own kind. Gone is the warmth and security of maternal care. If he doesn't hunt, he won't eat. And seaweed won't see him through the lean summer months. His fat reserves will last a while, but sooner or later, he must become a true predator. He will have to use his memory and training to survive. Remember the hunting grounds his mother showed him the previous summer. The islands around the fjord offer some prospects. But another, far larger bear has staked its claim to the closest island and seems ready to defend it. Hunger drives large males to cannibalism, and young bears are extremely vulnerable. The cub is saved by his nose. The odor of danger is that of 500 kilograms of muscle, fat, and fur. The search for safer ground continues. This little island looks promising. The smell of feathers and bird droppings laces the air. He knows from past experience that that means eggs. He can locate the eggs easily enough. But can he steal them? Arctic terns are prickly foes. The birds present no real threat. At worst, they're just an irritation. But curse all prey and the endless ways they find to avoid getting eaten. That's a problem all predators face, both on land and at sea. Take the beluga whale that navigates the fjords. Though prized by polar bears, they too are hunters and know that some prey must be avoided. Bullheads are like eating a mouthful of pins. Lumpfish are totally indigestible. And jellyfish are 90% water and 10% venom. There are surely better meals to be had in these waters. Now that's more like it. A halibut. It's tasty and easy to catch because it's slow. So it likes to keep a low profile. Out of sight, out of mind? Not for the beluga, which can see through sediment by echolocation. Beluga whales, like dolphins, use highly effective sonar to see around and through their environment. They emit ultrasound from their melon. It acts like an acoustic lens, focusing sound waves into a beam. The vibrations bounce off obstacles and echo back to the whale's hollow lower jaw, which then sends the information to the brain. Hunting halibut is child's play. The Beluga has the equipment of an underwater spy. It even detects the gentle lapping of water against the hull of a boat far off. The whales track these unidentified floating objects for reasons that will become apparent. But for the moment, back to our young adventurer and his search for food. He's under attack from the sky. Once clear of the combat zone, he enters fertile ground. Driftwood and uneven terrain indicate that eider ducks could be nesting here. It's only a question of reaching them. But if the ducks are threatened, they don't always fly away. They sit quite still, blending perfectly into the ground. Hard to see, but easy to smell. Especially for a bear. Missed again. But this time, there's a consolation prize. 3 eggs and a side of duck down. It's better than nothing. A strange sound distracts the bear. It doesn't smell edible. In fact, it's pretty repellent. That's much better. Rancid fish oil. It's the characteristic smell of beluga breath. The beluga is oblivious to the danger. Now the reason why it follows the boat becomes clear. It molts before winter, and the boat offers a great rub down. Polar bears are powerful swimmers. Using their large paws for paddles, they can cover up to 80 kilometers in a single stretch. But bears are noisy in the water, and the whale is alerted and holds its breath. Tough luck. With the whale now below the surface, the bear can neither smell nor see it. The whale dives to the bottom to track the predator. These murky waters are no barrier to the whale's vision. It's going to be a long, lean summer, longer than ever with global warming delaying the return of the ice pack until September. Maybe the best thing is to lie low and conserve energy. But can he survive on his reserves of fat? Time will tell. Meanwhile, how are predators coping on the far side of the globe? Unlike the Arctic, Antarctica is cut off from the rest of the world by the Southern Ocean. Storms whip up winds of up to 300 kilometers per hour, and the temperature can drop to minus 90 degrees Celsius. Far too cold and remote, even for polar bears. Besides, There's little to hunt on land here. But underwater, mammals thrive in an ocean haven. Seals and whales of all kinds gather here to feed and reproduce. One super predator dominates the coastal waters. Like the big cats of the African savanna, it has flexibility, power, and even shares the same name, the leopard seal. How has a seal become such a voracious and successful killer? How has it earned an unchallenged status around this continent? One has to follow the leopard seal to find out. This male is 3 years old, the same age as our polar bear cub on Spitsbergen. And, like the bear, he too must learn. The real difference is that the seal is on his own. He learns from his own mistakes, not from his mother. The leopard seal's hunting ground is Graham Land, the northern peninsula of Antarctica, where the snow partly melts to expose rock in summer. The young seal arrives in time to join its favorite prey, converging on a cove. Penguins prefer a hard landing. With 98% of the land still under ice, rocks are a treasure. Gentoo penguins use them to protect their eggs from the wind. Once the penguins have established their nesting ground, it's only a matter of time before they return to the water to feed. The predator positions himself smack in their path. A penguin floats on the surface, seemingly in a state of shock, allowing the seal to play with its food before eating it. A beginner's mistake. Playing dead lets the prey off the hook. In the Antarctic, one predator's loss is another's gain. Skuas like their meat rare and preferably alive. A group of penguins provides some protection for the wounded bird. But sooner or later, the skua will find a weak spot. It's just a matter of time. Once the victim is isolated, other skuas join in for a piece of the action. In Antarctica, scavenging birds have taken on the role of super predators on land. But out at sea, the leopard seal reigns. Like the beluga whales of the Arctic, leopard seals are marine mammals that are well adapted to frozen waters. But where the belugas must remain in the water, seals can haul themselves out onto the ice. Its jagged teeth are perfect for ripping penguin flesh, but can also be used as filters to consume tiny krill. And the seal's long, powerful flippers propel it up to 30 kilometers an hour through the water, faster than the fastest penguin. He has another formidable weapon, his cunning. He can adapt to a range of prey and hunting habitats, and hones his skill with every kill. The chinstrap penguin seemed particularly alert to the seal's presence this time. He needs to come up with another plan. A block of ice doubles as a screen to shield his approach. But the penguins still sense danger. They turn to a time-honored strategy of defense, safety in numbers. They rally on the shore, waiting for someone else to make the first move. Then it's helter-skelter. No one wants to be left behind. Stragglers are more likely to end up as lunch. This time, the leopard seal goes straight for the juggler. No repeating past mistakes. But he's making a different error. By flaunting his success, he sows panic among the penguins. They take to the water elsewhere. Bad manners mask a gourmet attitude. The seal carefully peels the penguin like an orange to get the tastiest morsels of breast meat. But it's still a skimpy meal, so there's another lesson learned. Eat discreetly if you're hungry for more. Hunting is a tiring business. And even if the seal is not full, he does need a rest. But where? Deck space is in high demand in summer, and there's no peace and quiet around here. Interesting, but dangerous. This female seal is twice his weight, at least 400 kilograms. It wouldn't do to cross her. The young visitor is obviously not welcome. He finally takes the hint. Sunbathing alone is a privilege reserved for adult leopard seals. The youngster must find seals of his own age to share a spot in the sun. The penguins make a big flap over nothing. The new arrival just wants to park and rest. Besides, he's more like a tortoise on land. As the southern summer draws to a close, cat and mouse games between penguins and seals become rarer. The coastline will soon freeze over completely, so its inhabitants prepare to spend the long winter months at sea. Last chance for the leopard seal to snatch a few more birds before they're gone. The young seal has one last target, the baby pool. While the adult chinstrap and Gentoo penguins are ready to leave, their chicks are still learning how to swim. They seem unsure whether to adopt freestyle or backstroke. Luckily, a swimming instructor is at hand. If the seal hopes to make more than one kill, he will need to keep a low profile and use the camouflage of his gray fur to blend in with the rocks. Once inside the baby pool, the challenge is to kidnap a chick without alarming the others. He'll have to grab it from underneath and prevent it from squealing. Out at sea, he devours his prey quietly underwater. The penguins are none the wiser. A leopard seal skilled in this tactic can make up to 30 kills a day. The penguin's rate of reproduction easily absorbs the losses. The leopard seal's ability to adapt and learn quickly put him at the very top of the food chain in Antarctica. The seals will leave the coast at the same time as the penguins and head for winter feeding grounds out at sea to gorge on krill. This is one super predator that won't be going hungry. Seasonal change isn't so kind to his Arctic equivalent. What has become of the hungry and exhausted young bear after the long summer months? His chances of survival seemed slim at best. And yet, there he is. Not just a survivor, but a healthy predator. He survived his first summer alone and was rewarded with a good winter. Following his confident footsteps may reveal how well he's mastered the ice pack. He knows precisely what he's after. A polynya, a hole in the ice pack giving access to open water below. But what is he waiting for? Belugas. They use the hole as the only breathing space for miles around. They take it in turns to surface, as they all must. So they're cornered in a bottleneck under the ice. This time, the bear has surely hit the jackpot. Why the hesitation? He's wearing the whales down, preventing them from taking deep breaths, waiting for exactly the right moment to lash out like a harpoon. How could he miss? He didn't. A female is fatally wounded, but she weighs nearly a ton and can still put up a fight. So the bear calmly waits for her to die before heaving her out onto the ice. 6 dark winter months draw to a close. The sun returns little by little, and spring brings the hope of good hunting for predators, and for scavengers, tasty leftovers. Every polar animal depends upon a delicate food chain, and at the top stand the polar bear and the leopard seal. Without them, the balance of life would collapse. But the fragile link is already threatened by human activity. Global warming, overfishing, and pollution, 3 scourges of modern life, threaten their survival and ultimately our own. After surviving his first year alone, our bear is ready to mature into a full-grown adult. But one final test awaits him, the ritual of combat, bear against bear. Sparring is both bear play and preparation for ferocious battles between males during the mating season. He hesitates. He must be sure of his own strength before stepping up to the plate. Young bears recently separated from their mothers are often too timid and weak from hunger to join in. This one turns away at the mildest challenge. For our young bear, the moment has come to stand and be counted. And he holds firm. He finally earns his spurs as a super predator of the North Pole.